Autumn was here, and for these college students, it was time to have fun and shake off any prudence. It was Halloween night, and all were excited for a big festive party to which all were invited. Some sorority girls were busy preparing to just chill and relax. They were heartily raring. Their plans were all set, things looked to go well, but their evening would twist and turn into hell. But before we begin this night's trick-or-treat, a young woman named Amber is one we must meet. She was a good student, working hard from the start, but made time for fun, it must play a part. Imagine her joy and that of her friends at word of this party and a holiday cleanse. It was time to be free and shake off their gloom with music and drinks and a fitting costume. Amber and friends were just about ready, dressed as a witch, a zombie, and Freddy. But as they were leaving, something caught their attention, their sorority sisters, whose plan they did mention. Before they would leave for the party ahead, their sisters would stay for a seance instead. They'd spoken of this for some time before, to perform this old rite on the old basement floor. These girls were excited, it would be such a thrill, or if nothing happened, some time it would kill. They'd try out some things like casting a curse, or talk to the dead, or perhaps something worse. Amber sighed at the thought and declared it a dud, but if they got lucky, then they might summon Shud. The girls looked bemused. Of what did she speak? A ghost or a demon? Their interest did pique. After some prodding and just wanting to go, Amber relented and so let them know. She told them of Shud in her spookiest tone, the All Hallows horror as it's better known, telling its story of a dark ancient time and how it is summoned through a creepy old rhyme. Come to us, foul creature of old, the sun has now fled and the night has turned cold. Come to us, and name us your task, you'll then see it done, we've your favour to ask. Come to us, please answer the blood, we call for your coming, O great wicked Shud. The chant, it would seem, is finally sealed with the presence of blood, then Shud is revealed. The girls were amazed, asking if it was true. Amber just shrugged her shoulders, really, who knew? But to think this thing real was all too absurd. Then Amber was gone, without one other word. What she didn't hear as she walked through the door were the girls reassessing their plans from before. Amber and friends did shortly arrive. As the evening went on, the party did thrive. A fraternity house did hold the event, and many great hours were thoroughly spent. The evening soon passed into cold early hours. When it comes to time, fun quickly devours. The night had been great, a well-earned reprieve, but with all said and done, it was now time to leave. Informing her friends she was headed for home, they opted to stay, so she started to roam. As Amber walked home, something didn't seem right, for she'd not seen the girls at the party all night. They might not have come, as plans often change, though to not say a thing was really too strange. It just wasn't like them, the thought had her vexed, they'd not left a call or even a text. She stared at her phone as it ran out of power. Well, isn't that perfect? She stared with a glower. She was too tired and been liberally drinking. Their lack of attendance she was now overthinking. With a deep, tired breath, Amber brushed it aside, though still interested what excuse they'd provide. Amber could see the house just up ahead. She'd avoid any mess and just go to bed. As she got closer, while still on her route, where all through the house the lights were all out. They must be at home, or they'd leave on a light, a rule they applied when all out at night. Assuming that they were all now asleep, she crept in the house without making a peep. Upon walking inside and closing the door, there was pure disarray just lining the floor. There was crap everywhere, a major pigsty, but to call this unusual, that would be a lie. But it was too late to tackle this mess, and also their problem, so no need to stress. Walking upstairs, she crept like a mouse, doing all that she could to not wake the house. Reaching her room, she walked to her bed. To outsleep her hangover, she quietly pled. But as she lay down into sleep-soothing care, a low sudden whisper did flow through the air. Amber lay still, which you may deem apposite, when she knew the whisper came from within the closet. Turning her head, she looked over to see, as her own closet door did open slowly. Her heart beating hard through the fear and the doubt, which was only made worse when a figure leaned out. This was too much, a dark, awful dream. She shot up in bed and let out a scream. The figure jumped out, but before she could flee, she recognized it as her housemate Tracy. Confused and upset, her anger unfurl, Amber got out of bed to question the girl. Tracy grabbed Amber and motioned for silence. The fear on her face just begged for compliance. Into the closet, she urged her to move, but until she got answers, Amber didn't approve. Tracy tried to explain that they had to hide. It wasn't safe here, there was something inside. Before Amber could speak, they both heard the sound of heavy footsteps quickly hitting the ground. The steps getting louder, much to their unease, Amber reluctantly heeded her housemate's new pleas. They stepped in the closet, and they fell to a hush. Their nerves were unsteady, their heartbeats did rush. While certainly nervous, Amber wasn't convinced. Through a gap in the door, she focused and winced. The footsteps approaching, Amber sitting on guard. A bang hit the door, and it slammed open hard. Upon this intrusion, there rushed in a creature. Amber's eyes stared in horror at every foul feature. Long matted hair largely covered its face and ran down its back, ending just at the base. Large hefty arms pulled into its chest, which breathed heavily as though it's distressed. Elongated fingers did curl up and twitch. What she saw of its nails were darker than pitch. A creature crawled out from the deep darkest dregs. This great monstrous form was held up by 4 legs. It wandered the room, turning over each bed, and stared through the hair which covered its head. Amber and Tracy sat quietly shaking. If this thing found them, they'd be ripe for the taking. They continued to watch, it search for the source, but not finding a thing, it halted its course. Frustrated and hungry, it let out a grunt. It knew someone was near, so continued its hunt. It made for the door and turned down the hall. Its awful footsteps echo off of each wall. They waited until it was no longer heard before either dared to speak out a word. When silence had fallen, fear now in full swing, Amber then turned to Tracy, asking what was that thing. Tracy took a deep breath and recalled the whole night, from the plans for the seance and the words to recite. As the evening passed on, they were getting quite bored, so chose something new should instead be explored. They had remembered what Amber had said, how to summon a creature, so they tried that instead. Well, it had worked. The creature slowly appeared. All were amazed. They watched it and feared. Before they could speak or make a request, the beast attacked them and killed all the rest. Amber was frozen. Fear came in a flood. This couldn't be true. They'd summoned the Shud. Amber's mind raced. It's not real, she swore. But then what was that creature she'd seen just before? Tracy continued. Some tried to get away, but the creature caught up, and each one it did slay. While the others all ran, she came up and hid, thinking it would soon leave all the good that it did. It took all the others to the basement to eat. That's how it saw them, as nothing but meat. At this awful tale, Amber sat in a chill, shaking so much it was hard to keep still. The truth of this matter she just couldn't deny. They had to get out, or else they would die. Tracy suggested that they just stay and hide. It would surely go, then they'd break for outside. Amber then stated that may not be true. If it was here longer, just what would they do? To be caught by Shud, the harm this would reave, so they would be careful, but did have to leave. They waited a time so the coast would be clear before leaving the closet for the hall they did steer. Slowly and surely, they were always on guard, watching each way. Their nerves were now marred. As they reached the landing at the top of the stairs, they listened below or be caught unawares. With all looking clear, they began to move down. The girls would escape and flee into town. Their escape looking sure, but things then turned foul when the silence was broken by a low, angry growl. From the darkness above, this sound had them reeling, where Shud was concealed up there on the ceiling. A moment of horror held the girls in their places. The look of true fear was stuck on their faces. The moment did break. Amber called out to run. This was their chance, or else they were done. They ran down the stairs and towards the front door. Shud landed behind them and let out a roar. Amber pulled at the handle, but was fearfully shocked. The door wouldn't open, it was solidly locked. She fumbled the lock. Tracy begged her to hurry. Shud began moving in a loud, monstrous scurry. The lock wouldn't budge. It was tricky and old, and would often get stuck when the weather turned cold. She hit at the lock to get it unstuck, but Shud was so close, they were now out of luck. Tracy called out. Amber turned to confer, as Shud's crooked hand was reaching for her. Just at the right time, Amber dodged out the way. Shud hit the door, then turned to its prey. Tracy tried moving, but much to her woe, Shud grabbed a hold and wouldn't let go. Amber ran at the monster to rescue her friend. She kept up her assault. This was to no end. Her hands began hurting from each heavy smack, but Shud hit out an arm, which threw Amber back. Despite her best effort, it all was in vain, her back and her chest now stinging in pain. Shud held Tracy up, and in one quick attack, it bit at her throat, and Tracy fell slack. The rank, awful sounds as the monster bit in. Amber knew to get up, or on her it begin. Amber got to her feet. There was no reaction. She wasn't proud, but must take this distraction. The lock was now weakened from the blow that was cast. Amber heaved at the door. It opened at last. She stumbled outside and was free to escape, but after that hit she was not in good shape. Before she could flee, or the call could be cried, a grip on her shoulder pulled Amber inside. The house was found empty, scenes of gore and dismay. It still sits abandoned to this very day. So that's the tale of this night so obscene. I hope you enjoyed, and happy Halloween. Good day, I'm Jar19 and thank you for listening. So what did you think of Shud, the All Hallows horror? Hopefully we'll have you rethinking that summoning you were planning on doing tonight, though probably not. It's been one whole year since Wandering Will, my first creepypasta poem. Shud was an interesting one to write, as I didn't want anything too cliché to a Halloween theme. I ran through a lot of ideas before working on this creature, even thought of a talking pumpkin which breathed fire on people, which maybe I'll bring up in the future, but who knows. It's been good fun writing these, so here's to another year of monsters. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, then perhaps subscribe, leave a like, and if you're feeling particularly cheeky, maybe even a comment. I do hope that you'll join me again. Stay safe, sleep well, but remember, here we make monsters.